The Journey of Dreams and Eyebrows. The golden afternoon sun filtered through the living room windows of the Miller household, casting long shadows across the worn carpet. Brian Miller sat slumped on the sofa, his eyes fixed intently on the open pages of a textbook. However, he had not turned a single page for over 60 minutes. His mind was miles away, tangled in the complicated web of teenage longing. Judy, his mother, watched him from the kitchen doorway with a mixture of concern and amusement. She finally broke the silence, asking Brian what the matter was, noting that he had been staring at that book for over an hour. Brian did not even look up, his voice muffled as he replied that he did not want to talk about it. The heavy silence was shattered by Tina, who breezed into the room with the casual cruelty only a sister can master. She announced to the entire room that Brian had a crush on a girl at school. Brian snapped at her to shut up, his face flushing a deep crimson. Undeterred, Tina continued, revealing that the girl's name was Carrie Tyler and, according to her, Carrie did not even know Brian was alive. Brian turned to Tina, his voice trembling with betrayal, stating that this was the last time he would ever open up to her about anything. Tina simply shrugged, offering a flippant response that suited her perfectly. Judy, sensing her son's genuine distress, walked over and sat beside him. She tried to offer comfort, calling him by his childhood nickname, Bree, acknowledging that she knew he was hurting. Brian sighed, anticipating the motherly lecture, muttering that he knew no matter what that girl thought, he would always be her handsome prince. Judy made a face, correcting him quickly. She was actually going to tell him to buck up, adding that the idea of him being her prince was creepy because she was his mother. The conversation shifted when Lauren entered the fray. Looking at Brian's earnest but slightly dated appearance, she suggested that if he wanted to catch a girl's eye, he might consider investing in some hair gel. Brian looked at her with a flicker of hope, asking if she really thought hair gel would get Carrie's attention. Lauren nodded, remarking that it could not hurt, unless he wanted to stay with his current look, which she unfavorably compared to a former president named Reagan. She told him that he actually had a lot of potential and with a little bit of work he could be a pretty good-looking guy. She even managed to say it without laughing, which she pointed out as a personal achievement. Grateful for the sudden interest in his social life, Brian thanked her. Lauren, feeling a rare wave of sisterly helpfulness, offered to show him the ropes and create a whole different look for him. Brian was touched, asking if she would really do that for him. Lauren agreed, though she admitted it would be a challenge, comparing the task to climbing that dumb mountain Brian was always talking about. Brian corrected her, saying the name was Everest. Lauren shrugged, claiming that while Everest might be real, so was Middle-earth. Despite the job, Brian was excited, telling her he did not know what to say and that this was going to be great. Just then, Bill, the patriarch of the family, walked in. Brian, feeling a surge of newfound confidence, told his father to say goodbye to the Brian Miller he had always known. Bill simply said bye, without looking up. Brian stopped him, asking if he was not even going to ask why he was changing. Bill guessed it was because Brian was nerdy and girls did not like him. Brian started to deny it, but quickly realized his father was right and settled for a quiet yes. Bill, however, was preoccupied with his own excitement. He announced to Judy that he had great news. Judy, ever the realist, asked if he had finally got the car fixed. Bill admitted that it would not be ready for another week, but he pointed outside to a tow truck. He proudly declared that they were now the owners of a muscle car. Judy looked out the window at the rusted heap being towed by a man of Mexican descent. She asked what he had done, and Bill explained that he had always wanted to fix up a muscle car, and now he was going to do it. Judy remained skeptical. She asked him to name one thing he had ever wanted to fix, and actually finished. Bill challenged her to name one thing he said he would fix and did not. Judy began a long list, pointing to a lamp, a drill, and a table, all within her immediate line of sight. She offered to turn around and continue the list, but Bill stopped her, claiming those were just chores, whereas the car was his dream. Judy joked that he must drive that car in his dreams, which explained all the backfiring noises she heard every night. The family gathering was interrupted by the arrival of Perry, the eccentric fiancé of Judy's sister, Linda. Perry entered with his usual flair, greeting Judy as the sister of his lover. Bill decided it was time to leave and told Judy he would see her later, mentioning he was going to work on his video. Linda, following close behind, explained to a confused Judy that Perry had decided to make a music video for one of his original songs. Perry described the vision with grand gestures, involving the Great Wall of China, mirrors, and tiny versions of himself flying out to deliver a message of world peace. He claimed the idea gave him chills, though Judy remarked that it only made her shudder. As Perry left, Judy expressed concern about the cost of such a production. Linda admitted it was expensive, but explained that Perry felt the financial pressure would force him to write a great song. This revelation shocked Judy, who realized he had not even written the song yet. Linda defended his process, saying he worked best with his back against the wall. Judy dryly asked if that was a padded wall. She urged Linda to consider if throwing away money was wise when they were supposed to be saving for a wedding. She told Linda that guys were not that bright and needed to be set straight. Meanwhile, Bill was struggling with a simple socket wrench in the driveway. Judy joined him and pointed out that he had stripped the socket. She reminded him of the rule, righty-tighty. Bill grumbled, and Judy seized the opportunity to mention that Bill's car was in the shop, asking Linda if she could give him a ride to work. Linda's response was less than enthusiastic, asking if Bill had to ride inside the car or if she could strap him to the hood like a hunting trophy. Bill shot back that even a dead deer would not want to ride with her. Judy, losing patience with both of them, told them that if they did not want to carpool, they could go back to the laundromat and walk to work. Later, as Linda drove Bill to work, they commiserated over Judy's bossy attitude. Bill called her a dream squasher, claiming her shoes were covered in the remains of his dreams. When Linda mentioned Judy's advice to stop Perry from making the video, Bill strongly disagreed. He told Linda that men needed encouragement, invoking the history of Mrs. Columbus and her famous husband. He warned her that if she said no to Perry's dream, he might hold it against her forever. Linda, swayed by Bill's logic, decided to support Perry completely. Bill was moved, telling Linda he was proud to have her as a sister-in-law, though he quickly got distracted by someone he knew on the street and told Linda to drive past quickly. The next evening, Bill returned home to find Judy waiting. She asked if he had remembered to bring Bill home, and he confirmed that Bill was just coming in. Linda arrived shortly after, looking stressed. She told Judy that she had decided to support Perry 100%. Judy was baffled, asking what kind of idiot would give such advice. Just then, Bill walked in, wearing a colorful scarf he claimed to have traded with a neighbor's snowman. Bill proudly announced that his advice had worked. Perry had stayed up all night, wrote a song, and even had a manager interested in him. Judy was stunned, and Bill mocked her for not always being right. Judy realized that Bill was only giving Linda bad advice because he was still sore about the car. Linda defended Bill, calling him insightful about the male's psyche. Bill agreed, emphasizing the word insightful. Judy remained unconvinced, reminding them of the many ways Linda's life was a mess. Bill argued that Judy should have more faith in his ability to fix things, whether it was a rusted car or a struggling sister. Linda took slight offense at being compared to a rusted car, but the argument continued. In another part of the house, Lauren was busy with Brian's makeover. She had finished trimming his sideburns and moved on to his eyebrows. Brian was nervous, asking if they looked uneven. Lauren admitted they might be a little off, but she told him a girl would have to be very close to notice, which Brian noted was exactly the goal. As Lauren prepared for a delicate trim, Brian felt a sneeze coming on. He managed to suppress it once, but just as Lauren made a move with the scissors, he sneezed violently. Lauren froze, and Brian asked if everything was all right. She told him he was good to go, and called him the next Johnny Depp, though she quickly made her exit. Brian looked in the mirror and let out a scream. His life, as he knew it, was over. The next day, Linda stormed into the house, looking for Judy. She told Bill that her life was falling apart because of him. She revealed that Perry wanted to postpone the wedding and spend all their savings on his rock star dream. Bill tried to stay calm, making a coffee and using too much cream as he struggled to find a solution. He realized he had nothing. When Judy arrived home, Linda tried to talk to her, but Bill stopped her, reminding her of the big talk they had the day before. He warned her that Judy would make her eat her words. Judy entered, mocking the geniuses and asking if everything had fallen apart yet. She called Bill's attempt to fix a life the equivalent of pouring stupid gas on a crazy fire. She told them she would be watching from the sidelines, far enough away to avoid the mess when it hit the fan, though she joked that the fan was probably broken because Bill never fixed anything. Bill realized he had only one day to solve the problem. Suddenly, Brian appeared, wearing a pair of large, thick glasses. He told Bill that Lauren had shaved off half of his eyebrow. Bill told his son he was screwed. Lauren tried to suggest gluing or painting a new eyebrow on, but Brian refused. He also rejected the idea of a bandana or an eye patch. He was currently wearing his grandmother's old cataract glasses. Surprisingly, Bill told him they did not look that bad, giving the boy a small shred of hope. Later, Bill found Judy relaxing in the bathtub. He tried to sit on the edge to talk, but she asked for some room. She told him she was happy he had taken over Linda's problems because she finally felt like she had more energy. Bill, feeling the pressure, tried to tell a story about a lady at work whose fiancé wanted to postpone their wedding to become an artist. Judy stopped him, asking how stupid she was supposed to be in this story. She knew exactly what was happening. She told Bill he was in over his head and needed her help. Bill refused to admit defeat, claiming he was just between great ideas. Judy offered to step in, but only if Bill admitted she was right and he was wrong, and that she was a hero while he was a zero. Bill hesitated, pointing out that Perry's song might actually be great. He decided to trust his instinct one last time. In the living room, Perry began to perform his new song for the family. The lyrics were strangely familiar, involving moms being hot and dads being lazy, and a chorus about wanting to have a ball all night with Perry every day. Judy immediately pointed out that it sounded exactly like a famous song by the band Kiss. Perry denied it at first, but when Bill sang the original version, Perry realized the mistake and muttered a British swear word. It was then revealed that Perry's manager was actually just his apartment manager, and his agent was a travel agent. Linda was devastated, realizing the whole thing was a mistake. Judy stepped in and gently talked to Perry, suggesting he take things slow, play small clubs, and wait for real inspiration. Perry agreed, noting that the Great Wall of China was not going anywhere. Judy then turned to Linda, telling her that she needed to speak her mind in a marriage. She explained that if Perry did something she did not agree with, she had to tell him. Bill tried to argue that guys needed to follow their dreams, but Judy reminded him of his own ridiculous ideas, like the Treehouse Casino. Bill finally conceded, realizing that his career in the advice business was over. In a moment of sisterly affection, Judy and Linda hugged. Perry, inspired by the scene, began to sing a new song about sisters sharing a heart and Judy giving advice every day. As the family joined in a chaotic sing-along, Brian walked in with a bandage over his eye. He told them that he had told everyone at school he got into a fight, and people actually thought he was tough. He decided to take the bandage off to see if his eyebrow was growing back. He gave it a quick rip and realized, with a groan, that the hair was still completely gone. Despite the missing eyebrow and the abandoned music video, the Miller household was back to its usual brand of functional chaos, filled with love and the occasional bad idea.